it is your buddy Peace and Harmony with you here today. And we're zooming in and focusing in a little bit more in understanding the relationship dynamics that occur with a covert narcissist or a psychopath. And that is specifically looking at the frustration, looking at the barrier, looking at the self-limiting beliefs, looking at the energy block in your life and in the relationship as a whole. And really what that looks like when it gets kind of played out in yourself or in your relationship or your business or your profession at large. And before we get started, I want to ask a viewer question. A gal who complimented me on my lipstick. Guys, you can take a breather for a moment. She wanted to know what brand it is. As you can see here at Peace and Harmony, we're all about accommodating to your questions. So real quick, I want to go into it. I love this. It's like an NYX lingerie. It's called lingerie. It's called LIPLI 23. It's kind of like a dark earth tone. I use also this. It's NYX. It's like a lip pencil, and in terms of the color, I can't really see it right now, but it looks like this. And then I also do the Vivid Matte Liquid by Maybelline. And this is what number is this? 35. So it's kind of like a square just delivery service on that lip color. So thank you so much for your compliment. I do appreciate it. As you can see, I am a layering person and I layer it all together. So thank you so much for your compliment. And a big shout out to the viewers who frequently comment and give a thumbs up. Much love to you. Thank you for your contribution in relaying of your feelings. It is so important to get out your feelings and relate to others and be validated by others who get it, who understand what you've been through. And so we're really discussing more in depth right now the frustration and then the resulting playing out of this when you're in a relationship with a personality disordered individual or family or workplace, and what this looks at like. And yes, I am developing a number of different products and a website as well as a book that will help people actually have some real tangible tools, practical tools to work through this. And I'm developing a series of videos, but also a written book which has things in an organized manner and some actual tools and strategies that are almost like in a flip card sort of manner, like an index card sort of manner with artwork. So I'm putting those together right now as we speak. So please be patient. It takes a lot of work pulling together of resources. So thank you so much for your patience as these are forthcoming. And thank you so much for your input. And we're getting started and looking at really sort of the frustration and the block in the relationship. Block meaning like a stalemate, a blocking, or you're coming to a sort of stagnation of energy. You're not moving forward in the relationship. You're not moving forward in the life. In fact, you might feel like you're regressing. In fact, you might feel like you're really in a horrible, despicable situation where there's abuse going on, verbal abuse, angry looks, slamming of doors, throwings of objects, slanderous comments, even at the workplace. It becomes very threatening, very intimidating, and tinged with fear, anxiety. There is a lot of trouble. And now realize that the frustration and how this plays out and then how people cope is a number of different ways. And number one, when we talk about narcissist or psychopathic relationships, we look at no contact, getting away from that person, getting away, emotionally, physically, psychologically, spiritually, getting away, stopping the bleeding, stopping the negative input, stopping the negative looks, stopping the reverberations, the flashbacks, the ruminations that occur when you're in a relationship with this person, because you are constantly still around the source. You are around this, in other words, it's like the cancer is still alive and it's still eating away at your tissue. You are allowing it to proliferate or grow when you stay in a relationship close in proximity with these people. It just continues on. And a lot of people say, well, I'm stuck, I'm dependent on this person. They make all sorts of excuses and they live in denial. They might just continue to overwork. overshop, overindulge in drugs or food or alcohol to numb it out. So moderation, sure, if you want to, overeat once in a while or overspend in a while, you become indulgent, you can deal with it. It's not deleterious. It's not negative to you or your lifestyle or your health. Sure, that's one thing in moderation, but it becomes another when you are using these items as a coping mechanism, a defense mechanism to a abusive relationship, and the frustration that is related there because of an inability to work through it. There is something going on. There's something there. When you are talking about someone who is lacking empathy, an inability to honor and express your feelings and live in solutions, it becomes more problematic than having a flow or pleasure in the relationship. And so this needs to be attended to. Sure, there's always going to be trials and tribulations, things that need to get worked through, health crises, financial crises, employment crises, things of this nature. I mean, this is part of the fabric of life, but you need to be able to work through it and deal with it. But in everyday manner, it's as if there's more struggle that's permeating the relationship and life in general when you're when you're with someone who is pathologically selfish. In other words, themselves is the bottom line, and they take from people, and it becomes an imbalance in the relationship. And how this is played out, how people cope oftentimes is the defense mechanism. But I want you to understand the direct correlation between abuse in this relationship and then how it plays out, what you see happening subconsciously to yourself in order to deal and adapt and kind of keep the homeostasis or the balance, or just keep it, keep alive, or keep some semblance of a life together. So number one is the acting in. So in other words, it's taking that projection, it's taking that abuse, subconsciously agreeing with it, and then these self-annihilating or self-injurious, self-sabotaging behaviors. The overworking. Overworking can become an addiction. It becomes a way to keep attention off of that person who has been hurt, and its ability to say, look on paper, look at my numbers, look at my job, look at my title. It becomes, sure, there's people who achieve a lot but then there becomes an issue, people who overwork and they suffer because of it. Their work gets in the way. They are workaholics. Sure, there's all levels of workaholism, but when it becomes so much, the people are working on Saturdays, Sundays, they can't have a life. Their job is overwhelming. And sure, jobs can become overwhelming for certain periods of time, certain bracketed periods of time, but then there becomes another issue where the job becomes so demanding that it takes away from your ability to enjoy life, enjoy time off, you feel guilty if you're taking pleasure. You cannot take a vacation. You feel so guilty that, you're needed at your work that you can't enjoy your life. You can't have a family. This becomes an acting in where it's like, look on paper, this is my title, this is my bank account, this is my this, and it becomes so that you don't, you're not, in touch with those issues and you haven't worked through it and had closure. Then there's the other, the constantly overspending, keeping yourself at zero. Look, I have nothing. It's a direct correlation to I have nothing, I am nothing. People begin to spend themselves down or abuse themselves financially, maxing out credit cards, constantly overdrafting their accounts so they get hit with overdraft fees. It's a turning in, it's an acting in of the abuse, and it's a way to make the intangible tangible. It's a way to make the invisible visible so that they can, see, and then feel what they are not able to then express. It becomes acted out or acted in and then acted out in other areas of their life so they can say, look, I am hurting. I'm in the negative. I mean, it becomes a direct correlation when you really look at the insights of that. So people who constantly, it becomes, abusive to themselves financially. They hurt their credit. they can never get over things. Do you see the direct correlation? They can never get over things, and then they've acted out into their own life exactly what they have occurred. You know, and then there's the overindulging of food, you know, trying to give pleasure where there is no pleasure. They're trying to drive pleasure in other areas. Because of an acting in, they then try to overeat or overdrink as a way of self-medicating. They end up having relationships with drugs or relationship with food as a surrogate to having a relationship with people, a healthy relationship with people. So they end up having an unhealthy relationship with drugs or food. You know, I've heard people who have gone through addiction process as, you know, like the white burgundies were like their mistress. The vodka was their mistress. You know, they would always turn to this person as like a surrogate, or they would always turn to this drink like as a surrogate relationship. So it can become a way of acting in. So you can see how this then plays out. And so you really need to put the foot on the gas and go, you know, this is enough. This is not working out. This is, you know, out of control for me. And this is actually hurting me now. And you see how it becomes a direct correlation where, you know, this person is hurting you. Now you're hurting yourself. So you're giving even more life and more credence to the abuser by abusing yourself. You're repeating to yourself that which was done to you in a negative manner. And then you find that now you have health issues. And then it's you who's going to go to the doctor. They are not going to be there to support you oftentimes because they don't get it. They don't have empathy. They don't understand the need. They're not able to get beyond themselves to be there for another. You know, other ways of acting out that frustration, having, other sort of gambling issues, you know, trying to take a shot at things which are not always, you know, based in reality, and being able to like realistically pull yourself up, sort of, what do they call, sort of grandiose ideas about how to save yourself. And rather than actually taking realistic action and doing what you need to work through these feelings and actually get a footing for yourself, you're giving more credence to the negative relationship by, getting either, denying that, it's that bad, you're living in denial, or having grandiose feelings that maybe someday it's going to magically, mythically turn around for you. I mean, this is not going to happen. So you need to get some reality testing and, and then stop and put a stop to this frustration, because you're then stopping the cycle of the abuse from going on. You're putting you're putting your foot on the brakes. You're saying, okay, I get it now. This is not beneficial for me. I'm going to find some other therapeutic activity or way to work through this and put an end, basically, put an end to that abuse, because it is not positive for you. It's not building you up. You're adding to the problem. It's now time to live in the solution. It is your buddy, Peace and Harmony, with you here today, and I hope that these videos do help. Please share and please subscribe for more great tools, videos, discussion, and support.